Welcome to another 80 update alongside Fordham Director of Athletics, Ed Cull. Emmanuel Berbari with you. Ed, good to be with you.
Good to be with you, Manny.
Ed, somber news today. The university passing that 100 COVID case threshold, and that triggered a 2-week suspension of in-person activities, including athletics. Your initial reaction to the news?
Extremely heartbreaking, extremely disappointing, very emotional, Manny. Obviously we've ton of time and hours and hard work by our student athletes and their commitment and their love, not only of their sport, but of their institution, and wanting to get their seasons up and running here this spring semester, and that's all of our fall, winter, and spring sports, and the ability to start semester again, and the optimism and excitement to try to get back to some sort of normalcy and get back to doing what they love. Very, very heartbreaking to have to deliver this news to them that we are in a 14-day pause based on New York State guidelines of us being over the required amount of positives as a campus on Rose Hill. And based on those state regulations, state requirements, that's a full pause. So no interaction, no practices, no competitions right now for all of our programs. And it's extremely discouraging for them. They obviously have our student athletes have done an incredible job of working hard, following COVID protocols, looking out for each other, very, very day-to-day medical oversight, temperature checks, check-in with vital check, and aggressive testing protocols. We've done everything we possibly can to protect those student athletes. So I feel bad. Obviously, the spike on campus is very, very concerning. Spike in the Bronx borough is very concerning, and I was seeing it in a lot of Northeast schools around the country. And our student athletes obviously are just a small percentage of the overall positives, but obviously we are all a family in this as a Fordham family, and we feel for all of not just our student athletes, but the entire campus and all the students that are impacted by this challenging time, and their families and loved ones. And I hope everybody is safe and healthy and continuing to do the right thing and look out for each other, because it's obviously continues to spread and continues to be extremely contagious, which is very concerning right now.
This, of course, another obstacle in the several challenges that the student athletes have faced. The men's basketball team went through something similar when they were trying to start their season, where it was a complete 14-day shutdown, went through it twice. How will this differ for all the teams?
Yeah, so this is not a full quarantine situation. This is not even what you're seeing at UMass right now. This is not a full to your dorm room or to your and the inability to leave. Students are able to leave their dorms. They're able to go onto campus. There's some restrictions, of course, where even dining needs to be taken to go, and their inability to go into a lot of areas and buildings on campus right now. But they are able to leave their dorms. It's not a quarantine period that, for your example, our men's basketball team, unfortunately had to go through, and it was very challenging for them in December when they had a little bit of spread through their tier 1 travel party and their roster and their group. So it is different than that in terms of they do have the ability to leave their dorm rooms. It's not a restricted or a lockdown in any way. So there is unfortunately the inability to practice or have workouts or go into athletic facilities right now. But they do have the ability to leave their dorm rooms. And as you know, Manny, we continue to focus heavily on mental health support, working closely with Dr. Jeff, Dr. Susie, and our university psychologist, Sports Strata, our outsourced sports psychologist group. And we have a bunch of interns here through the social services group in the university that we're lucky to have. Our students support our students. And we continue to utilize our coaches in that fashion as well, try to keep our student athletes as upbeat and as positive as possible during this challenging time. And try to get through these 14 days like we have in the challenging times the last 8 to 9 months we've been dealing with this. So continue to push forward and try to control what we can, but try to just maintain as much concern and support for the mental health of our student athletes as possible.
With student health, of course, being paramount, the question becomes at this point, you have 2 basketball seasons nearing the regular season conclusion. The women's basketball team looking to make a run in the Atlantic 10 tournament as well, and rolling as we speak. what is the threshold for potential resumption of all athletic play? Of course, the 100 case threshold was crossed in order to trigger the suspension. Where would it have to be, let's say, 2 weeks from now to have brighter days ahead?
Yeah, great questions. And I am extremely sympathetic to, even additionally sympathetic to our men's, women's basketball teams. As you highlighted earlier, they've been through a lot, right? Our first sports to start out of the gate there on Thanksgiving break, and stayed on campus here at Rose Hill through the challenging months with nobody on campus, and quarantine issues that you've talked about on the men's side. And our women's team has done an incredible job of continuing to stay healthy and protect their roster through these challenging times and their issue to travel. So you really sympathize with them trying to conclude their season, get ready for the A10 tournament, which for the women's basketball team is 2 weeks away, and the men obviously about 3 weeks away. So the hope here is after 14 days, Manny, we stay below that 100 New York State number of positive tests on our Rose Hill campus, that this pause will maintain and protect the safety of all students, and hopefully really slow down any spread or contagiousness of this virus right now that has hit us, and that we can get back to resuming workouts and practices and competitions accordingly. Difficult again for men's, women's basketball. We continue to look at that in every way possible on trying to protect the integrity of their season, the conclusion of their season. And then for our other sports, making sure that, not only 14 days of it's a slow buildup when they return, right? Not only just in terms of COVID safety protocols, but their own physical well-being of trying to dial it up too fast. So trying to slowly build them back. So there's time on both ends of this. That's disheartening and concerning, but we'll do our best and make sure we put their health and safety first in any and all decisions.
Ed, appreciate it. Best of luck navigating these times, and we always appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
I appreciate that, Manny, and we'll keep you posted on updates here.
My name is Chris Austin. I'm a redshirt sophomore, and I am a shooting guard for the Florida men's basketball team. Well, I started drawing when I was really young, and it's been off and on throughout my life. But during quarantine and the start of COVID, I really started to get a little bit more serious because I had a lot of time on my hands, and I really got into realistic type drawings. I basically draw from reference photos, so I think it's really interesting, to the different techniques that you use, and there's a real it's an art within an art. I just draw celebrities that are resonate with me. I mean, I'm big fans of, everybody's a big fan of Kobe, obviously. I draw Bruce Lee, Nipsey Hussle, all the little celebrities that I just like at that time. My craft at the time wasn't developed enough to portray him the way I wanted to. And so I went back to the drawing board, kept developing my skills, and when I felt that I was ready, I just gave it another shot at drawing him, because I found a photo that I really liked of him, that I thought would portray him in a really good way. And I feel like my second picture that I made was a way better composition. That combination of the profile composition and the light source that it had really made for a really dramatic scene, and I feel like my drawing is really intense when you look at it, and Kobe was an intense player. You said, Kobe was a really intense player. He had a really strong mentality, and he embraced failure. And I think coming into this season, I really had to adopt that kind of mentality and just kind of just play my game, basically, just that simple. And I think I've always had it in me. Like you said, I was plagued with injuries. I had a wrist injury that no one really knew about, but I always knew, I know what I can do on the court. It doesn't really surprise me, but I think Kobe and his influence really has a lot to do with that, to be honest. They say basketball is 80% mental, 20% physical. I think just the only thing that really changed this year is my mental. In order to succeed, and you have to stick with it, and that's just been what we are here about at Fordham. You know, our coaching staff is always like, you know, putting that in our ear, never give up. And, you know, we think that, like you said, the tournament's still coming up, anything can happen. We had a great performance last year and unfinished business there. So our confidence doesn't change at all.
Hi, I'm Coach Marcelino, and I joined in 1974. So I know it's a long time ago. So what is that, 46 years?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow, I can't believe it.
You were a baby, so it's okay.
And some of the best friendships have developed from it. Nothing like sport. Sports brings people together and you have lasting friendships.
Mary Hayes Haas, I came to Fordham, graduated high school in 75, came over to Fordham in 76. I can still remember my freshman year and meeting Kathy and just getting such a great energy that I was so excited that I had the opportunity to play basketball in college.
I'm Ann Gregory O'Connell. I started at Fordham a year after Mary. I was the same year as Mab, Dr. Mary Ann Bellotti. We came in the 76-77 season, and we graduated in 80.
I have to tell you, I'm just humbled to be with these ladies because, you know, they were just wonderful. You know, Kathy Marcelino is our coach, and, you know, Mary Hayes and Ann Gregory. I mean, you want to talk about ball players. I mean, these girls were just unbelievable.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see everybody again. I echo pretty much what the others have said. My route to Fordham was a little bit more circuitous.
Big word.
Yeah. That's why I transferred to Fordham. I actually have a copy of an article. I guess I sprained my ankle my first semester there, and Kathy's quoted in the article about saying how I had to learn to play defense, and I sprained my ankle playing defense. So that's pretty funny. But
You always had such nice compliments for all of us.
yes. Actually, I still tell stories. Judy can repeat some of these stories. She's heard them so often. But do you guys remember when Kathy would palm the balls?
Yes.
Hands and at us?
She has those big hands.
Yes. Katie. Kath, put your hands up. Let Katie see how big your hands are.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And she could palm the ball. This was the big ball, not the little ball that you guys play with. She actually could palm the big balls. But yeah, it was great. I think I grew in so many ways. I think when you win, it has a lot to, you have lifelong memories. And as everyone has said, we won a lot.
It's fitting that I go last because I was the last one to go in the game. I would go in if we were up 50 or down 50. And I loved every minute of being on this team. I went to a all-girls prep school. Liz, speaking of defense, after my freshman year, Kathy told me to go back to inner city Baltimore and find a team and get on it for the summer league so I could learn how to play defense and not get mad when someone boxed me out. Because at my school, we wore dresses. We played basketball in skirt and jumpers.
Yes, I remember those.
Yeah, the first time somebody boxed me out, I was like, you can't do that. And they were like, yeah, welcome to the Bronx. But anyway, in all seriousness, one of the things that I loved was definitely we would do anything for each other. We also would dive out of bounds through a brick wall if we were up 40 points, because that's the kind of player that Kathy wanted us to be.
Well, Katie, this is Coach. I just want you to...
What's with the sexy voice?
Well, you change as you get older. You got to remember, I'm 70 this year.
Oh my
God.
Oh my God.
So Katie,
Yeah.
back then we didn't have any assistant coaches. So Mary Gunning was my assistant coach.
Right.
Okay.
So actually they were all my assistant coaches because we were all the same age.
When I look back, it was really amazing. Like in my junior year, right? And Ann and Mab were sophomores. Liz and I and Mare were junior year. It was almost like I always thought Kathy was building these little blocks every year. You know, Liz came in, things came in, all these little building blocks came together. In my junior year, she pulled me in her office and said, What do you think about going Division I? The accomplishments of going from, the other division, I don't know what they called it.
AIAW.
Small college and large college.
Yeah.
Small college and
We
large.
went from small college to large
all of a
college.
sudden doing that leap. And that leap was just so exciting that we were able to really take it and run with it. So, I mean, that was really, I thought it was really attributed to Kathy, even though we had nothing really given to us at the time. We had some scholarships, we had a couple of pairs of sneakers, we were able to
We got sneaks.
stay in the dorms without heat.
You sold banana bread to get sneakers.
But we made it happen. And, I think we should all be really proud of that. Trying to make
Remember those cake balls? It was like we made this big crummy cake and it fell apart. So we made like these like balls, snowballs out of cake, and we called them cake balls. And people loved them. And every time somebody bought one, we would start laughing.
And I am still the same kind of baker today. I can't bake
Oh my God.
Mary Hayes, do you remember the Queens College tournament when
I do.
Annie had a jump ball with
Yes, from Kansas.
Lynette Woodard?
Yes.
Kansas. Lynette Woodard.
Oh, yes.
You had a jump ball with Lynette. Lynette won the toss, or the ball came to her. She went down. Mary Hayes and I were down at the other end of the court to stop her, and she just went in between us and did a reverse layup. I'll never forget that. You looked at me, I looked at you. We were both like, okay. Like, what the hell do we do?
Yeah, she was pretty amazing.
Yeah, but we took them to overtime. We lost.
Yeah, we
but that
did.
was a good game.
We lost an
That's
overtime.
right. Wow. That's why Cavallos liked us in her tournaments.
Well, because we give them good games.
Yeah.
Yeah, but our senior year, the year we played Tennessee, I don't know if you guys remember this. At Christmas time, we were 2-3. We didn't even have a winning record.
No, I don't remember.
Right. We lost the first 4 games.
Well, we lost the Queens College tournament. We lost at Southern.
Remember, the thing that I loved about you, Kathy, is you loaded up that schedule.
2 or 3 or
I
4.
made the mistake of playing West Point.
Oh, God.
Those were Annie's favorite game.
Katie, you have to imagine that it was the women were just allowed at West Point. Was it their first year, their second year?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like,
first inaugural game.
Yeah.
So like we were in shape. We were in shape, but they were in shape.
Mary Hayes fouled out. And when Mary Hayes fouled out, because when you play up at West Point, it's noted that you get like a home job. The referees are against
They hired their own
team. And they called fouls on us. I think we almost all fouled out that thing. And my mother was there, and she was yelling at when poor Mary Hayes comes out and she's crying, and my mother yelled at the referee, "And you call yourself a soldier?" It was so funny.
I would like to point out that was my best game of my career at Fordham because a person that we have not mentioned yet was our sports information director and Annie's husband, who has gone on to heaven. But Ak really promoted our team a lot as a sports information director. But when we played at Army, as I said, I got in that game. You all must have fouled out because I got in for 23 seconds.
You know, you're crazy. You played a lot.
I know, but this is I played a lot.
I remember we all fouled out. We were sitting on the bench.
yeah.
But let me tell you what Ak did. Ak sent a story back to our local paper in Baltimore, and it was like Gunning scores 23 against Army. So at least for one weekend, my father was like so excited.
You know what? But let's go backwards a little bit, because before we went to the large college, we made it to the small college nationals in Florence, South Carolina. So that was our first trip.
You know what? They actually went to Florence, but they went to Florence, Italy, right? Your team last year?
Yeah,
we went 40 years later, from Florence, South Carolina to
Katie.
We're boring, Katie. Katie's like ready to fall asleep.
Can you
All
tell
right,
us,
Yeah, do you have any questions?
Katie, can you tell us about your team?
You guys are hilarious. Also, I love how you remember so much, literally the names and everything. It's awesome.
Well, I don't do, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, but the memories you guys have and everything, it just makes me so thankful and so excited for the relationships that I have with my teammates too. So it's just really cool to see.
Katie, what's your best memory so far of the years you've been there?
Probably winning the A-10 championship my sophomore year. It was just like such an unreal feeling. Thank you guys so much. This was awesome. I really
We feel for you. You know, these guys are family to us, to me. And your families are my families. I think of everybody's mother and father and everything, and how we all loved each other. And it was really a special time. So I tell the new captain to enjoy this time. It's a magical time for you.
But they're memories that last forever. They're people that I really look forward to seeing. I was excited about this, so I'm really glad that you guys did this. Katie, your role as the captain, Mary should probably speak more to that, but you set the tone for the team, and you're going to be there when things are good. That's the easy part. The hard part is when you're down and you're losing. You got to be the one to be able in 30 years to have this same Zoom call with your team. Being completely frank, Mary Hayes and I had some challenges our senior year. I love her now, but back then we had some challenges, but I respected her as our leader. I didn't always agree with her, but you're going to be in that position where you're going to have to sometimes do stuff that's not comfortable. You're going to have to make decisions that are for the better of the team, not necessarily for the individual. But you always have to put yourself out there as the leader, you and your co-captains. And if you're cohesive, the team will do what you do. Because I think that's what brought us all together, is that winning is fun, right? Losing sucks. And you can put up with a lot more when you're winning than you can when you're losing. And so your job is to get them to understand that basketball is a microcosm of life. As Mary aptly said, take in everything, because it goes fast and then it's over. And you can't believe that it's over.
You're lucky too, Katie, to have Stephanie, Coach Gately to help you with that too, because she's awesome. I love her so much. She is just a great coach. I mean, it's obvious how great a coach she is, and it's also obvious how much she loves her teams.
Yeah.
And it's all about family and you as individuals and as well as wins, just like you did for us, Kathy. Stephanie is very similar, I think, in so many ways, because it's not just about the basketball. You know what? I don't envy you guys in a lot of ways, because we worked really hard, but when the season was over, if we wanted to, the season was over. Like, we had our off-season, preseason workouts, but you guys, you have more is given to you, but more is expected of you.
I would just say, take it all in. I remember not even believing when I became a senior, wow, this is it, So I just think you want to take it all in. But I also think you look down to that bench and you're a leader. So this is when you're really going to apply your leadership skills that you've developed over the years, as starting in freshman year and looking up to Mary, like you just said, just take all those great experiences and share them with your rest of your team as they're coming up, because they're going to be looking up to you and they're going to be looking for guidance and direction. And I also think you want to celebrate successes, and you also want to, like you say, keep locking them in. I love that term.
Yeah.
Lock them in, keep them focused, and enjoy the ride. I mean, I certainly did my senior year. I mean, I did every year.
We know that, Nair.
I know you do.
We've proven with the first set of conference games where we are. People are coming after us. We got to prove it with the way we play.
Let's go! Rams!
play so different than anybody we played, guys. Just to let you know, they play so different. So we'll prepare you that tomorrow. I want you to enjoy it tonight, but come ready for Valentine's Day. Love each other that night. 1, 2, 3.